If you're a realtor and you haven't implemented speed to lead for your leads, then you are leaving so much money on the table. Let me show you how this works. So, speed to lead is probably the single most high leverage thing you can do in any form of lead generation. What does speed to lead mean? Speed to lead is pretty much that moment from a lead comes in to you following up with them, and you want to reduce that to the bare minimum. So what does speed to lead mean? Speed to lead is pretty much the process from when somebody opts in to whatever the form may be and to you actually following up with them. And you want to reduce that as to make it as small as possible. Let's look into what that kind of looks like. All right. So this is where deals are lost, right? Not implementing speed to lead. So this is a typical funnel. Step one, we have our ads. This is typically a generic offer. Maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a video. Hey, claim your X, Y, Z, whatever it is. And there's also no friction in the funnel. So people click the link, click learn more, whatever the case may be. And then a pop-up comes like this, like a Facebook, hey, please opt in, get my free evaluation, whatever the case may be. And it asks for like basic info, like number, street, maybe their email, maybe their name. And often it's autofill. So it takes about 1 second for them to fill it out and then to be gone and continue scrolling. And there really is no friction. So the intent here is going to be very, very low because, at the end of the day, they didn't really need to do anything, right? Then next step is time, right? Nothing happens for a long time. People wait around, life continues, and all of a sudden you try to follow up with them, and you might be calling them at the end of the day, maybe like at the end of the week, whatever the case may be, and all you get is like no answers, or people saying call me back, I never filled out a form, or I'm just browsing. And the reason you're getting these answers, especially like no answers, or I'm never filled out a form, is sometimes they actually just don't remember, right? It's such a low friction that they really can't remember anything. And it's been like, a couple hours ago, our attention span is so low. So it really isn't, it's not them lying. It's just, they typically just don't know. And this is something we've seen with a lot of clients that we work with, that this is what they've experienced beforehand. And now that we're working with them, it really isn't the case at all. And they're like wondering why they haven't implemented that all these years, right? All that wasted money. So this is typically where your lead goes to the lead graveyard, right? You paid money for them. They come in, you think it's a waste of time because all you do is throw them into long-term nurture, send them maybe a happy Christmas message, or if you have their birthday, like a happy birthday message, and you never hear from them again, and it really feels like wasted money, right? And the way I like to view it is a bucket. You're catching leads as a bucket is catching water, but the bucket has holes everywhere, right? And you're never going to get really far no matter how much water you pour into this bucket because it's going to keep on leaking out, right? So the real goal is making sure we don't have leaking water or leaking leads. So let me show you how this typically works, right? And how you can actually implement this into your business and really make sure you get the best out of your leads and simply by implementing speed to lead, right? So this is the normal sequence that a lead goes through from their perspective, right? So they're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, just browsing the internet, whatever the case may be. They have no clear goal. Maybe it's after work or in their lunch break, watching some funny videos, and they come across an offer that is enticing, right? Like, oh wow, like actually I am potentially moving, or I am be interested in seeing, what my house would be worth, or what it would cost me to upgrade because we're getting a kid, or whatever the case may be. And it looks something like, oh, they're interested in, they click out, they click the form, it says, learn more. So their focus briefly went from focus to, cat video to actually wanting something and clicking a button to that. So their intent at that moment is pretty high. And this is going to be their highest interest because this is them from like internally, they've decided to take the step to stop what they're doing and actually take the time to fill out a form, to click learn more, whatever the case may be. So they just interrupted their flow specifically because they saw something they like, right? So this is a very high interest point. Our job is to give them a call in that exact moment, right? So they fill it out. Yes, I am actually looking to move, right? They thinking about it. They're potentially looking at some pictures of, oh, that's a nice home. And the goal here is to reach out to them immediately and really enhance that desire or that pain, whether it's like maybe they with the new rates they can't keep up and they're looking to downsize because they really don't need that 3 bedroom house, whatever the case may be. And we want to really dig into that pain. It's kind of like a setting a setter's call, and we want to get them to an actual meeting ASAP, right? We want to build on that momentum, and this really helps that lead jump from the top funnel or from just a cold lead to the bottom funnel immediately, right? So we're skipping all this nurture, we're skipping all these kind of things because we took a shortcut. We actually gave them a call. I know it's crazy. It sounded crazy to just say giving people a call, but we gave them a call right away, and they picked up. So what does that look like? So these are just some average campaigns we run and some average numbers we see with our clients, and really where we help them is by implementing the speed to lead. Obviously, back end building friction, getting more qualified leads, building brand presence. All these things can help, but the single biggest point of leverage is really that speed to lead, right? So this is scenario one. An ad budget of $30 per day, and a cost per lead is around $10, right? And let's say you're busy, you're at some home showing, or you're just driving to an appointment or whatever the case may be, and you call the lead after 2 hours that came in from a lead form, right? From Facebook lead form, whatever the case may be, and the pickup rate is going to be around 35%. That's like conservative in the sense that best case 35% is people will pick up. I'm every area, every person has like different experiences, but that's kind of what we see. You will have around 90 leads coming in the month, and you're going to convert maybe 3% from leads who opted in Facebook form to getting an actual appointment. So at the end of the month, you have about 2 to 3 listing appointments. You spend around $900, and depending on how it goes, you might have another person you can actually work with and close a deal, or you spent $900 and need to spend as much next time as well. So the results are you're spending around $300 to $450 per booked appointment, right? And it can still work. Like the math still works, depending on the deal size and all that kind of stuff. But that's a lot of money, right? A lot of money for not guaranteed outcomes, and just doesn't have to be that way. So this is scenario two. This is where you do implement speed to lead, or have some agency or somebody you work with call these leads immediately, whether it's like personal setter, or you have a outsourced call center, or whatever the case may be. And we're going to leave everything the same except for the call time within the first 5 minutes. We wanted this to be, within the first 10 seconds, first minute. That is ideal. But 5 minutes is also still pretty good. Pickup rate jumps to 54%, right? That's a huge jump. You still get 90 leads per month, but now your conversion is 6 to 8% of the leads that actually opt in. And all of a sudden you're looking at 5 to 7 listing appointments, and your cost per booked appointment just dropped to $130, $180 per booked appointment. That is a dramatic reduction in cost just by calling within the first 5 minutes, right? So all else being equal, so 2 people running the same campaigns, getting the same cost per lead, getting the same opt-in rates, just by implementing this, or having working with somebody who does implement this, whether that's like a secretary or an agency or whatever the case may be, you have around like 54% higher pickup rates, 2 to 2.7 times higher conversion rates, 2 times more appointments booked, and 40 to 60% lower cost per appointment. So you're going to be able to make so much more money with the same investment, all because you changed one variable, which is speed to lead, right? So if we think about, this market, especially if it's, become harder to get clients to be sell um, listings, the realtor who's able to be more efficient with their money and their investment is going to be able to outpace and outspend his competition or her competition and scale, right? And that's why brokerages and other companies seem to be doing just fine and you're struggling, right? So if you have any questions about how to implement speed to lead to yourself, in your own company, or any other questions of how it potentially look like to partner with us or a company like us, reach out to our team, reach out in the description. And if you have any suggestions for that next video, let me know and I'll make a video on that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some value out of this, and we'll be seeing each other soon. Take care. Cheers.